name is Alex, and I'm a curious journalist always on the lookout for the next big story. My travels led me to a small town shrouded in mysteries. The locals spoke of a cursed painting, the infamous portrait of God, hidden away in the town's old gallery. Intrigued by the whispers and eager to unravel the enigma, I stepped into the eerie atmosphere of the quiet town. The streets were lined with quaint houses, and the townsfolk moved about with an air of caution, as if guarding a dark secret. The gallery stood at the heart of the town, its windows clouded and its entrance invitingly foreboding. My journalistic instincts tingled, sensing that there was more to this town and its cursed painting than met the eye. As I delved into conversations with the locals, their hushed voices revealed a shared fear of the unknown. Tales of the portrait of God painted a picture of an entity that transcended the boundaries of art, a force that could invoke terror in even the bravest souls. Driven by a thirst for the truth, I decided to venture into the gallery to confront the darkness that gripped the town. Little did I know that this pursuit of knowledge would unravel a series of events that would plunge the once peaceful community into a nightmare from which there was no escape. The town was spooky as I went into its depths. I heard about a cursed painting, the portrait of God, in the local gallery. It called to me, like a voice I couldn't ignore. The gallery felt like another world. The air was heavy, and the lights made scary shadows. The silence only broke with the creaking of the floor beneath my steps. The painting waited for me, a dark spot on the wall. What does God look like? I muttered, my voice lost in the heavy air. I stared into the black, and it seemed to move, like it was hiding something bad. A figure appeared, a skinny man with a scary grin. His eyes, big and scary, stared right at me. I felt his gaze, and fear took over. Old Lady Emily stepped up, whispering, "He looks skinny," smiling, grinning down at us. Her words matched what others said. But I felt this was more than just a messed up painting. It was a door to something we couldn't understand. "It's beautiful," I stammered, but it was scary, not beautiful. Was it just a light trick, or were people really having weird religious moments with this creepy painting? The gallery turned into a spooky place as I went deeper. Each step felt like I was going crazy, and the grinning figure's eyes followed me. It felt like the painting was alive, feeding off our fear. Night came, and the town got darker. People left, and I was alone in this haunted space. I couldn't resist the pull of the portrait of God. It called me, its dark charm pulling me closer. The figure on the canvas seemed alive, its grin turning into a scary sneer. I couldn't look away. It felt like the painting had a power over me. Questions filled my head. Why did God show up like this? Was it our fears, or was something more evil going on? The air was thick with anticipation, and a cold chill ran through me. The gallery turned into a twisted dream, and the grinning figure seemed to call me forward. The darkness surrounded me, and the air got colder. Whispers echoed, creepy but full of an ancient evil. I stood before the painting, the figure looming over me. His eyes locked onto mine, and the glint grew stronger. I felt a strange need to touch the canvas, to unlock its secrets. As my fingers touched the cold surface, whispers exploded around me. The grin turned into a scary mask, and darkness took over. I was in a nightmare, where real and fake mixed. Visions flashed before me, twisted scenes, scary faces, and the never-ending grin that mocked me. It was a trip into madness, a journey through my worst fears. I fought to break free. The whispers got louder, weaving a story of despair. Had I paid too much for the truth? Was I lost in the darkness? The gallery walls closed in, suffocating me. I stumbled back, trying to escape the grinning figure's hold. The air was thick with a bad feeling, and the painting's eyes followed me. In a last, desperate move, I turned away and ran for the exit. The whispers faded, and the heavy feeling lifted as I left. The gallery door slammed shut, locking the nightmare inside. I gasped for breath, back on the quiet streets. The night was calm, and the wind told tales of forgotten secrets. The next day, the town was different. The air was heavy with an unspoken dread, and people avoided each other's gaze. It was as if the darkness from the gallery had seeped into the very fabric of the town. As I walked through the quiet streets, the weight of the previous night's encounter hung over me. The questions still echoed in my mind, and a sense of foreboding lingered in the air. Word spread quickly, a dark energy had taken residence in the town. The gallery remained closed, its windows boarded up as if sealing away a malevolent force. Whispers of strange occurrences circulated, tales of shadowy figures and eerie laughter in the dead of night. I couldn't shake the feeling that the grinning figure from the painting had left its mark on the town. It was as if the malevolence had taken a life of its own, spreading like a contagious disease. Days passed, and an unsettling tension settled upon the once peaceful town. The townsfolk, once close-knit, now moved about with caution, their eyes darting nervously at the shadows. The tragedy unfolded gradually, like a nightmare from which there was no awakening. One by one, the people who had gazed into the portrait of God began to change. Their once bright eyes dulled, and a haunted look etched itself onto their faces. Whispers of voices only they could hear tormented their minds, driving them to the edge of sanity. The townsfolk huddled in fear, unsure of what malevolent force had been unleashed. The darkness had claimed them, transforming their once vibrant community into a ghost town haunted by the echoes of their own fears. In the midst of this growing despair, I couldn't escape the guilt that gnawed at my conscience. Had my pursuit of truth unleashed this tragedy upon the town? The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on my shoulders. The final act of the dark drama unfolded as the once vibrant community descended into chaos. Those touched by the malevolence became mere shadows of their former selves, lost in a perpetual nightmare. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, a collective wail echoed through the town. It was a chilling sound, a symphony of anguish that reverberated through the silent streets. The townsfolk, consumed by the malevolent force, turned on each other in a frenzy of madness. The tragedy reached its peak when Emily, who had first described the grinning figure, became a vessel of the darkness. Her eyes, once filled with wisdom, now glowed with an otherworldly malevolence. She stood at the center of the chaos, her laughter cutting through the night like a dagger. In a fit of madness, the townsfolk, driven by the unseen force, turned on Emily. The once closed community tore itself apart, consumed by a darkness that knew no bounds. The tragedy unfolded before my eyes, and I was helpless to stop it. As the first light of dawn broke, the town lay in ruin. The air was heavy with the stench of despair, and the once thriving community had been reduced to a graveyard of broken dreams. The gallery, now a cursed relic, stood as a silent witness to the tragedy it had unleashed. The portrait of God remained hidden behind boarded-up windows, its dark secrets forever sealed away. I walked away from the shattered town, haunted by the ghosts of my own actions. The pursuit of truth had come at a devastating cost, leaving behind a legacy of pain and suffering. The tragedy of the portrait of God served as a chilling reminder that some mysteries were better left untouched, and some darkness was never meant to be brought into the light.